Hi, it's Joy Foster, founder of Tech Pixies and the host of the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. And today we have a returning guest to the podcast, someone who I've interviewed before and who I think has a really great offering, and that's Julia Heffer. Julia, thank you for being here today. Let's let people know what you do. You are, in my opinion, the branding queen, but tell people what you actually do and how you do it.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Joy. Yeah, so happy to be here. Yes, I'm a brand coach, and I help female founders, whether they're looking to launch, develop, or grow their business. And that's through a combination of brand coaching, graphic design, and branding support that they need for their business. So anything from a logo to identity design, social media templates, but really just nurturing the process as well, and making sure, because it can be quite overwhelming, so just making sure that you've got someone there that is asking the questions that unlock your vision.
I think the brand is one of the most underestimated pieces of your business. I had a conversation with our mastermind last week about things you absolutely need in your business to move the needle forward. And I was saying, there are certain things you need to move the needle forward. You need an easy way to get paid, like really easy way to invoice people. Really, you need to have a price list. You need to have a product to sell. And you need to have, a way of selling it. You need to have a mailing list. You need to have a social media presence. And I was saying branding is so important, but it's for a lot of people, they'll get the other stuff done. They'll get the price list. They'll get the easy way to pay. They'll start selling, but they don't put a lot of attention on the brand. And actually,
Mhm.
I think that that's a really good time once you're starting to get sales and once things are moving along to really invest in the brand. That said, I know there's a lot of people who wait to even put a product out
Yeah.
until they've got their brand set up. And it's a little bit of chicken before the egg. What's your opinion on this? Should you invest in developing the brand before you launch the product, or service, or should you launch the product and service and then develop the brand as you go along, or is it a combination of both?
You know what? I think either route is really valid. And my clients are definitely a combination. So sometimes it's people who come to me and they won't launch anything until they've got their look and feel exactly how they want it. Um, and they really want it to look slick and professional, and that's great. Um, then I've got another kind of client who she has started and she's well underway, and now she wants to level up, and she actually knows who she wants to attract now. And in order to reach that ideal client and get paid more and charge more, she's like, right, I need to level up now, and this needs to really look the business. Um, and then the third kind of client that I get is someone who's been in business for a little while, but they're now pivoting their business. So I have a lot of VAs who then become online business managers or social media managers, or um, so that it's kind of that launch, grow, pivot is the sort of the three places where people seem to come to me. And definitely at all those points, there's opportunity to feel a bit stuck. Like, I cannot tell you the number of discovery calls that I have where people say, Julia, I just feel stuck. And they don't know why always. But there's something in their branding. And when I talk about branding, it's not just the logo, it's the reason people feel stuck usually is because the the foundations, like the branding bedrock of their business, and I know that you do this in Tech Pixies, but the kind of the values, the vision, the mission is out of whack, and something's gone a bit screwy with that, and they can't quite move forward, or they can't share their messages because something's not right there.
Yeah, that's so true. We talk about the values, and we talk about that being a fundamental part of your brand. And again, even with Mastermind, when I was talking to them, I was saying, look, you know, it's important to have your values. It's important to have your mission. It's important to have your vision. It's important to know what your colors are. It's important to know what they stand for. but still, if you don't have a product to sell, you're not going to have a business. So it's this combination of how do I make sure that I spend time on both sides, the actual business, moving the needle forward, where I'm going to get my sales from, and then also building out, the vision, mission, values, and, brand. And they're sort of like, the soft skills and the hard skills of business, if you will. They're both needed, and they both have a place, and it's figuring out how much time to invest in both, and energy and effort and money. But I believe very, very strongly that branding is important. I learned it really when I first started Tech Pixies. I learned the value of branding when I interviewed Martha Keith, who owns Martha Brooke, and this was years ago. And she had a really beautiful Instagram feed, and it was growing quite quickly. And I said, well, what's the secret to your Instagram feed? And she said, well, we stick with our brand colors, and we stick with our brand sort of theme, which is this, which was pastel at the time, and still is. She's got sort of a dark blue in there as well, but just really sort of sticking with her belief in, sticking with the brand and making things sort of come together in that way. And that was a real game changer for me, because I thought, okay, what's part of our brand? Well, stars are. So I made sure that every time, I did an interview, I've got star earrings on, or I've got stars in my shirt, or there's stars behind me. And we've integrated the stars all the way through. And that's been really important for us, because people, once they start working with us, they start seeing stars everywhere. And, that sort of works for us. We're memorable from that point. And it was really funny, because I've got a little part-time job at the moment that I do, and I just go straight from Tech Pixies to that, and I've got all my star garb on, and people started commenting, and they said, we really like all your star stuff. You've got quite a collection. I was like, yeah, so that's my brand for my business.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the places that your brand shows up, okay? And your brand colors, and what those colors mean and stand for, because that's really important. People don't really recognize that or realize that.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the critical things with branding is that it's not just the fluffy stuff. It isn't just logos and colors, but that is really important in terms of actually making it easier for you as a business owner to keep doing the stuff all the time. It's so much easier if you've got that look defined. You don't have to scrabble around designing something on Canva. So branding shows up across, all the social platforms. Obviously, you've got your look and feel across there, and a big bit of work that I do for clients is social templates, and getting that. And that, the number of times that people say to me, oh, you've not just made it look really lovely, but it's really helped me to get my messages out there, because you've reinvigorated it, and it's made it so much easier. So yeah, it's all your socials, but it's everything. If you get brand photography done, which is always a really important part of branding, your website. So there should be a connecting thread. And yeah, quite often the things that you wear, the colors that you like, are tend to show up through your brand and your business as well. So
I wanted to bring I know some people are listening to this podcast. If you get a chance,
yeah,
go and look at Julia's account on Instagram, because it's really beautiful. And I think it sort of shows what's possible. So you've got your highlights branded with all of yours, and but also you've been able to integrate your colors and your design into your social media feed. It looks really beautiful. I was showing it on Bootcamp, actually, because it's a great example of what can be done, and just how much more professional it looks when it is blended and it's tied together.
yeah.
And I think
sorry, it's so easy for it to be organized and planned like this. I have a Trello board, I have my posts, and then I have my ideas, and then I just work out which one will fit into which design. So it does make it easy. It does make it much, much easier. And I haven't actually deviated much from that started.
You've stuck with the brand that you sort of developed in the early days.
Yeah.
We have a tech pixie who is a brand photographer and brand photography is a big deal, I think, in addition to just the color scheme and everything else. So Jane Hyde, and I think you've done some work with Jane, or you've connected with Jane before in the
Yeah,
past.
yeah, I've connected with Jane.
So let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about brand photography and why that makes a difference.
Oh yeah, I mean, it makes a big, big difference. Having worked in fashion retail for 15 years before setting up my business, photography is absolutely key. And again, it just makes you more confident to put your things out there because you know you've got a good image. And as part of the Tech Pixies training years ago, we learned that posts with your face on do so much better, and presenting you as part of your brand is important. So investing a small chunk of your money into some great brand photos makes such a big difference to how you can
Oh gosh,
present yourself.
apologies everybody, we're having some internet issues. Just hopefully we'll bring Julia, sorry, we're having some internet issues here at Tech Pixie HQ. I'm not sure what's going on there. So let's start that again. Let's just talk about brand photography again. I had mentioned before it cut out, I was talking about the Tech Pixie that we have that's gone into brand photography. She's not the only one. We have other Tech Pixies, but Jane Hyde, and we were talking about the importance of brand photography and what a difference it makes.
Yeah, it's really the opportunity to show up professionally. And everybody loves seeing you as the face of your business and being able to know, like, and trust you. And I know that that's something that all Tech Pixies learn. And ultimately having photos of you that you really like, and they not just that they're posed to look nice, but they actually represent you in your business. The ones I had most recently, and I know that Jane does this too, were in my home and they were in my work setting. And so now people can actually see me at work. When we all work remotely and from home, that's actually really lovely. And it's just taking the easiest route to getting your messages out there. And I say to people about how so many people are a bit scared to show off their brilliant business, and it's like all these things can help you to do that.
Well, we talk a lot about Tech Pixies taking off the invisibility cloak and becoming visible online. And you're right. One of the things that we teach people statistically, if you're putting up social media posts, particularly on Instagram, your posts with your face on it do so much better than without it. It's that personal connection. And so spending some time and money to get some photos done is worth it. And that's part of the suite of pieces that you need to bring your brand together. Yeah. Now, you've been working one-on-one for a long time with branding clients, and you're now shifting to some group coaching, but also some online training. So tell us about the program you're launching around brand coaching.
Yeah, so in January, I'm launching my first brand coaching program, and it's called Build a Brand You Love. And it's been in my mind for some time. So I'm really, really excited to launch it. And really it's a culmination of the coaching method that I've used one-to-one. And I've seen really, really brilliant results from women who have come to me with that stuck feeling, and to help them get their business out there. And I've called it Build a Brand You Love because one of the main transformations that I find with my branding clients is that they say, I just absolutely love my brand. And whether I've done their logo or I've just helped them like reinvigorate the brand that they've got, they are therefore so much more confident to share their messages, be more visible, get their ideal clients, all those things that help you grow your business because of the work that we've done. So yeah, it's a 4-week program, and we're really looking at brand foundations. So it's the why you do what you do, who you do it for, values, that kind of the real building blocks for building your brand, and it will just help you to build I'm going to call it a brand blueprint, which will help you get out there and showcase your business to its best.
And we've got a wait list that people can join, which I'm going to put into the show notes, and I'm also going to put into the chat. Of course, I love the one question that we say to people whenever they come through our training is, what would you love? When I do the social media superhero boot camp, I always say, what would you love for your social media to look like 3 months from now? And when I do the vision workshop, I say, what would you love for your life to look like 3 years from now? Right. So I love that question. What would you love? Those 4 simple words, really set the foundations for a really, really great social media presence, or all-rounder life, which are the 2 things we focus on at Tech Pixies. And it doesn't surprise me at all that you have also got these keywords: build a brand you would love, in your program, because building a brand you love is so important. And I just think when we lean into the things that we love, we get really great results. And I think you're right. One of the things that people probably are not, if there is a misalignment between the brand and the messaging that they're trying to get out there and the product, if there's a misalignment, it can feel constrictive and not like something that you love. But when you get those things in alignment, then it really moves forwards, because and it becomes memorable, and you become memorable with that extra boost of the branding. And I think, that idea of just that solid foundation is so important. There's a parable that I love in the Bible about building a house on sand versus on a rock. And I know everyone comes from different religious backgrounds, but in each religion, there will be a very similar sort of parable. But it's this concept that, when you build solid foundations, when you put solid foundations in, everything else on top of that is much stronger. So I love this idea. So what else would you like to tell people who are listening to the podcast or watching it about the program and/or about branding in general? What have we not covered that's important for people to know?
So I think it can feel a bit huge. Even the word branding, that can be a bit overwhelming and scary. And I think really what the program I'm trying to do is to make it really accessible, and realize that that actually you have all of the answers within you. But through coaching and through asking the right questions, and more often than not, people say it. They say it out loud, and then they're like, "Oh my! I can't believe I just said that," or, "Oh, that's really it, isn't it?" And then you're like, "Yes, yes, it is." So it's not really hard. It's not really complicated. It's just the opportunity to talk it through, having the space to think about it. And those foundations can change as well. Like, you may never have done them, and that's why you're feeling like you're struggling to grow the business, or you're struggling to pivot into something that you truly love. But it might be that it's time for them to kind of be refreshed a little bit and refined. I'm not in the same place now as I was 2 years ago, and that's brilliant. But it does mean that sometimes, I've just added a value into my own, which is challenge, because I'm a very driven person, and I like there to be challenge in my work and in my life. And so I suppose what I'm trying to say is that it's always worth doing this work to just take stock and make sure things are where you want them to be. And And the new year is always a really reflective point, isn't it? To kind of think, well, what do I want this year? What are my goals for my business and my brand? So yeah, it's an interesting one. What are your values, Joy?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. No, I agree. That's such an important part of branding. And we actually, years and years ago, probably 2018 or 19, we hired a guy to come. Well, it was that we made a donation to a charity, but to come and help us do that. We did a whole day on not branding, but on values and vision and mission. And it was so brilliant because really that was the foundations for a lot of how we respond to people, how we react to people. So our values are in the word sparkle. So supportive, positive, authentic relationships with women who are keen to learn and want to be empowered. And that's the company values. Now, it took me a while to then develop my own personal ones, but I stuck with the letter F and then added in an N and an O. No. So my personal ones are really around, I think it's the 6 Fs, because Foster has 6 letters. There's a lot of, fun little synergies there, but faith, family, those are financial independence. Those are really important to me. Fitness, friendship, fun. Those are also really important to me. And I've added those, I've added a few over the years. But the key 3 for me are really faith, family, and financial independence. Those are my top 3. And I remember someone saying, a coach that I had once, and this is the value of coaching. And I think one of the things I've watched you evolve as a person is you went on to, you set up your own business, you launched your own business. And then in working with women, similar to me, you realize, well, okay, we need a little bit of support here on the coaching side, right? And so you became a certified coach so that you could help women on a deeper level. And, branding is such a great thing to do coaching with, just like social media is such a great thing to do coaching with, because there's so many blocks for people as they're moving forward with it.
Absolutely.
But I had a coach once that said, if financial independence is not on your top 3 in your values, it's not likely to happen for you. So I thought, okay, I better put that on there. And I only introduced it into my value set a couple years ago when I really sort of thought about it. I had a great coach as well recently that sort of said, when you frame your values, to actually go a step beyond just the word. So for example, I've sort of stolen their fun value, but in their value, it says, we believe in fun. We create joy and fun in all aspects of our work. So that's one of their value sets, one of the organizations that I work with. And I think what they have is a sentence like, we believe in fun. And then they have an explanation of that sentence, which is, we create joy, laughter, and fun in all aspects of our work. So they've actually put in some verbs, we create joy, etc. So that's my next step, is how do we then now take these key words like sparkle and then like the 6 Fs, and how do we actually turn these into what, going beyond just a word and into what they really stand for. But what it has meant is that like, for example, if we sort of say at Tech Pixies, flexibility probably should have been one of our value sets because we change things a lot. But it does mean, when we're responding to an email, are we responding from a place of supportive, positive, authentic relationships, right? When we deal with challenges with an employee, are we dealing with it in a supportive, positive, authentic way? And that has held me together. But it also means, when we do podcast episodes, are we doing it? Female empowerment, women who are keen to learn and want to be empowered. Almost all of our podcasts are around, life coaching, neuro coaching, social media, advancement, alumni success stories, amazing, interviews like this, where we're talking about really important things, learning. So keen to learn. Women who are listening to this podcast are keen to learn about branding, right? And so, and it's been the basis for all the content that we create, and for how we treat and handle relationships with people. And, it's interesting because one time I had a situation where we were thinking about doing a partner promotion, and actually my values were really important, because the way that the person reacted to a question I asked was so, out of alignment with our value set as a company that I pulled out of the joint promotion, because I said, hang on, if you speak to me like this,
Yeah, yeah,
I can't put my students in front of you, because they're not expecting to be spoken to like that,
yeah,
and it was challenging, because I didn't really want to pull out, because actually I thought the product was a good product and I wanted to promote it. But what I had was a really solid value set that made it easy for me to say, this isn't going to work,
yeah.
and so I think values are really important, and they're the basis for so much that you do. And I
They're
think it's
super
great.
important, and it can be quite easy to think that they're shallow as well, and that it's just words plucked from the sky and they don't really mean anything. And I think part of what I do with clients, and part of this program will be to really, like, how do you actually live and breathe them? What does that mean in reality? And your example there is exactly it. It's like, you if I have a discovery call with somebody and they're asking me to do something tomorrow, then I can't do that, and I wouldn't do it. There's certain things that, yeah, having a strong value set, like you say, will really guide you in the right direction for your business and your clients too.
Yeah,
If
but
people feel
equally,
supported.
if we go back to that idea of fun being a value set, then that means on social media you need to have fun.
Yeah,
Right? On your website, you need to have fun. In your copy, you need to have fun. So this is where I think that your values permeate your brand completely. And I
yeah.
love that you've created a 4-week course to help people really go deep on all this stuff so that they can build that solid foundation. Julia, you're always a great podcast guest to have. And we will link to your other podcast episodes in the show notes of this
Thank
one, so that
you.
people can connect with you. How can people find you? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is here. It's at This Is Be Creative. And that's the same as my website as well, thisisbecreative.com. And the new program is Build a Brand You Love. And we'll put a link to the wait list as well. And I'd love to see some tech pixies there.
Yes. So if you do sign up to waitlist, please ping Julia a little note and let her know that you came via Tech Pixies. She'd love to know that. And of course, Julia is one of our alumni and one of our
Yeah.
star alumni. So she knows the Tech Pixie world quite well. And we're so grateful to have you in our Tech Pixie community. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to talk about branding. And I'm so glad we got to go deep on the value set, because
Yeah, it's great.
that's a key piece of what people need to do in order to build a brand they love,
Yeah.
and also to live a business life that reflects their value set. And I love what you said just then about, if you're on a discovery call and you get the sense that someone's like, I need stuff tomorrow, and your value set is, I have, I plan my day, and I have, family as a priority, and I've got blocks of time to do things in. And, if that's what your value is, that you stay true to that. So I thought that was a great top tip. And I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes. So let us know how it goes.
Thank you. I
And
will,
congratulations
absolutely.
on getting this program out into the world.
Thanks, Joy. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.